Stadium. Bournemouth are a team that have impressed everyone this season. The job that Andoni Iraola is doing obviously has not just endeared himself to the Bournemouth fans, but I think he's endeared himself to the Tottenham fans in a strange way, because the more that Ange fails, the more people are coming out saying, we should get Andoni, we should get Andoni, we should get Andoni. And you can't fault the job he's doing, because you remember when he came into the club and how long it took him to get his ideas across and get consistent wins, but now they're flying.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been phenomenal this season. From minute one, pretty much, they've had a phenomenal year, especially for a club like Bournemouth, with the resources, compared to our club and other clubs, the size of their ground, all these different things. He's really created this cauldron of intensity and positivity and aggression, which no one likes playing Bournemouth now. Every time a team comes up against Bournemouth, you're in for a game. And he's come up with this kind of way of playing, which is very chaotic, very kind of energetic, transitional, but it disrupts even some of the best defences. You saw when they played Arsenal, when they played them at home, how Arsenal really struggled to handle them. Just the way they constantly try things and they constantly ask different questions of you, whether it's Semenyo or Tavernier or Tara out wide, or whether it's Cliver in the number 10, or whether it's Christie and Lewis Cook in the middle with technical ability and aggression as well, whether it's Kirkes at fullback. Someone seems to be always asking a different question of you, and they're so relentless in their approach. Very, very difficult to deal with. And obviously, they played very well against us earlier in the season, what was a really good win. And they're right in the race for the European football right now. Currently, 4 points outside the top 4, 3 points away from Chelsea in 5th. So they're right bang in that race right now.
Here's a hot take for you. Bournemouth are going to finish above Forest this season.
You reckon?
Yeah.
They're currently 5 points away from Forest.
And it's just mad, because Forest were in a title race at some point, and now Bournemouth are only 5 points behind them. And I think the momentum is more with Bournemouth than with Nottingham Forest at the moment.
Well, Bournemouth have lost 3 of their last 4.
Yeah, it's true.
But Forest as well have won 1 of their last 5. So
but, you look at the losses that Forest took, like 7-0 drubbings and big defeats.
Well, Bournemouth beaten 5-0.
Exactly.
5-0.
And the games that Bournemouth are losing, one of them was against Liverpool, by the way, so you've got to say that. And the other ones, was a tight 2-1 against Brighton, where it could have easily gone the other way. A 1-0 defeat when Bournemouth were down to 10 men from early on in that game. So, I mean, you're looking at the losses that Forest have and the losses that Bournemouth have. I think it's a significant context there to tell the story of the game. Yeah,
they're still not playing too badly. Obviously, in the FA Cup, they just about scraped through against Wolves on penalties. So it wasn't the best performance, but they're still obviously playing really well. It seems like a team who've also suffered, a lot of injuries this season, especially lately. They seem to just be coping with it fairly well. They seem to have kind of put Otara. I mean, Evan Nilsson's back for this game, who's also been having a really good season, but they've kind of put Otara up front, and they've made this really fluid kind of front three, which is where sometimes Semenyo's there, Otara's there, Cliver really helps the front line as well, and they're a team which just have a lot of kind of threats, and you just don't know which one's going to turn up on any given day, and it's very, very difficult to deal with as well. And as well, they've just cultivated this kind of confidence in the way they play. You see it with them. Just everyone kind of is fully invested in how they're playing at the moment, and whoever they play against, they just go at 100 miles an hour and they never let up, and it's really, really difficult, and it's really exciting to watch as well. Yeah, and did you bring up that form table? If you bring it up, he did. Yeah.
Oh, he did. Who I love in this Bournemouth team are the 2 centre backs, Zabriani and Dean Hyson. I love these 2 players so much. I was banging the drum last summer saying Spurs should bring in Dean Hyson, and now it looks like he's being tracked by all the big teams in the world, Real Madrid, Liverpool, what have you. I'm telling you, these 2 players are top. Zabriani as well. He was another player years back I was kind of laying into who we should bring in. We're not playing RZ on
wrong
Sunday.
Lineup, yeah.
We're not playing RZ. We are playing Bournemouth. But, I think their whole play all stems from the back, all stems from these 2 guys.
Yeah, I think they're both technically really good and as well very, very strong. Obviously, Zabriani's sent off, so he can't play in this game, which is a big advantage. But I think the Senesi got injured at the beginning of the season, who's obviously a good defender for them as well. And Hyson's really just stepped in and taken massive advantage of that. And he's just been fantastic. Really, really has. He was sought after before Bournemouth gone. It was quite a coup. And Zabriani, both of them were kind of sought after before Bournemouth seemed to get them. And they're such a difficult partnership to battle against because they're both really physical, but also both really strong on the ball and both really suited to how Bournemouth like to play.
And both really young.
Very direct as well, both really young. So fantastic kind of recruitment from Bournemouth. I think Dean Hyson's been a breath of fresh air this season in the way he's played. And I think as well helped by Milos Kerkez on the left. I think he's fantastic. I think he's become one of the best fullbacks in the league, best left backs anyway. Yeah. And again,
he's also touted to a move to Liverpool. I
think he'd be perfect for Liverpool. I think he's destined for a big club like that. I think he's fantastic. But I think the star man for them this season has to be Kluivert. He has been really taking his game to a new level. I think this season is fair to say. He's kind of flattered to deceive for a large part of his time in the Premier League, but always could see flashes of quality there. During his whole career, his career seemed to be going nowhere for a bit, and now you look at him, and he's been one of the best number 10s in the league this season.
He was a bit of a journeyman before last season. You know, the last 4 years before that, played at a different club each season, whether it be Roma, Leipzig, Nice, Valencia, and he's really seemed to have found a home in this Bournemouth team, and Andoni Iraola has really got the best out of him. I'm still not convinced whether, you know, this is a season to say, look, I'm here, I'm going to be a really good, consistent player in the Premier League, or it's a one-off season, because we've never seen this kind of form from Justin Kluivert over the course of a season before. But you got to say, I've been really impressed with what I've seen from him.
Yeah, and some of the goals he scored, the one at Brighton the other week.
A lot of them have been penalties, though. He scored a hat-trick of penalties.
That's true, but the goal he scored away at Brighton was absolutely one of the best goals of the season. The little backflip, the shot technique he has is phenomenal, and I think he's really taking that into his stride. And they're such a great... in recruitment, Bournemouth. They've got a brilliant scouting system, brilliant recruitment, because they sold Solanke, immediately identified Evan Nilsson, and he just perfectly fit in like a glove right in to replace Solanke, and he's been absolutely phenomenal.
You think he's been phenomenal, Evan Nilsson? I think he's been good. I don't think he's been like amazing by any stretch of the imagination, and I feel like they've even looked better without him in the team.
You think so? I think, well, they have been good without him, but I would say he started off really slow. But once he really got settled into the team, I think he's been brilliant.
I think he's good in like certain games, like against like an Arsenal or something, when they need to be really aggressive up top. But when I look at them without them, no, you mentioned it before, they look a lot more fluid. And I think they're a lot more unpredictable when he's not on the pitch.
Yeah, potentially.
Don't get me wrong, I think he's a good player, and I think he's done well for them, but I don't think he's been like, you know, game-changing for them.
No, he doesn't have to be. I think he's been there and stepped in perfectly. I think he's been the perfect fit in my opinion. And I think he harries the centre back so much. He works so hard, and I think he's got a decent number of goals as well this season. I think he's been a really, really good find for them, and another really good recruitment.
He scored 5 goals this season.
5 goals,
which is not great.
But he got injured, obviously, not so long ago.
But it's 5 goals in 20 games.
Yeah, it could be maybe get a few. How many got a few assists as well?
0
assists. Okay, but he's won quite a lot of penalties. He's won like 3 or 4 penalties.
He has.
So I think he's made a big difference. I think he's been really good. I think Semenyo going from strength to strength as well. He's a winger who's just consistently. I think last season he was looking good, but he's again like getting to a really good level, and a lot of teams are looking at him. Really good with the ball at his feet, really unpredictable, and got a brilliant shot on him as well. Yeah. So he's one a lot of teams are looking at. Utara is really starting to come into this side more often than not now, starting to perform really consistently. Another winger who looked like a flash in the pan kind of winger, but he's really starting to add an end product as well.
He's been playing up front in the absence of Evan Nilsson. And, you know, Utara has the same amount of goal contributions, identical goals and assists to Semenyo this season.
Yeah,
which is incredible.
He got a hat-trick in one against, was it Newcastle or Forest?
Yeah.
He got a hat-trick, which is fantastic from him. So he's really coming into his own as well. So they've got like a really good kind of front line of like players who are regularly getting goal contributions to them, which is making a big difference. I think actually the hub of their team is that midfield, though.
Ryan Christie,
I think, absolutely fantastic. I think maybe that Bournemouth fan who told me he was a cross between Gattuso and Pirlo.
We laughed about it.
Yeah,
like,
there might be something on
you
to
laughed
that.
at me then, but you're not laughing now.
Which is, he's looking brilliant at the moment,
Yeah.
Ryan Christie. I think he's such a big part of how they play. He's such a big workhorse, but I think underrated technically as well, Ryan Christie. I think he's...
Is he injured for this game, though?
Is he? If he is,
He was
that's
out
a big
injured the
plus.
last game.
I think he went off injured last game, but I don't know if he's...
No, he
ruled out.
went in. He went off injured 2 games ago. Then he was out injured for the last game. I'm not sure if he's out for this game or not.
Well, if he is, that's a big plus because
Yeah.
I think he's such an important player. They have been playing Tyler Adams there. Obviously, we know from his time in... he was not great at Leeds, but he's good in the US national team. Who was he playing before Leeds? I think it was for a decent club.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
But he's quite a good player when he was on his day. He was actually quite highly sought after.
Leipzig,
Yeah, he was a good player. But for one reason or another, when he was moved to Leeds, didn't work out. He's gone to Bournemouth, and when he's played recently, he's actually looked quite good. They've been playing Lewis Cook at fullback, playing a midfield a bit out of position, but he's been doing quite well. Kepa in goal as well has been fairly decent for them. So they're a tough team to play against. Even the best teams have struggled against them this season, and it's going to be a real tough game on Sunday as well. Albeit, their form definitely in recent weeks hasn't been the best.
Yeah, it hasn't been the best, but I think they've kind of kept up their standards in terms of performance level, in terms of, even if they're not getting the results.
I think there's been a dip. I do think there has been a dip.
You think so? 'Cause
Yeah.
the 2 games that they lost were mainly because of the red card and a game against Brighton, which could have gone either way.
But against Wolves, they were already struggling before the red, but the red made it worse, obviously.
Did he get sent off like 20th minute or something?
Yeah, but I'm saying Wolves started that game quite well.
Yeah, but it's still only 20 minutes in a game.
Yeah, but I'm saying Wolves were the better team before the red.
Yeah.
But and they struggled against Wolves again in the cup and just about got through on penalties.
Yeah.
And I thought they lost. I think deservedly lost to Brighton, to be fair, albeit it was a fairly even game. I think Brighton probably just edged it. And then Liverpool, obviously, they could have got something out of that game, but they lost. That wasn't maybe a bad performance. But I do think compared to how they were playing a bit before that, when they were winning, at St James's, they beat Forest 5-0. They were playing some really good football. I feel like over the last few weeks, it hasn't quite been as good.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's hard to keep up those 5-0 and 4-1 away at Newcastle kind of form.
No, but now they're losing
for a long stretch of time. Yeah, they have lost a couple of games, but when you're coming up against this Bournemouth team, you're always in for a scrap. You're always in for a fight.
Yeah.
We have lost twice against them over the last 5 games. It did seem like at some point whenever we played Bournemouth, it just ended up at 3-2, winning or losing. Obviously, we won 3-2 away.
Being 2-0 down that game.
Yeah. And then the following game we played them, we lost 3-2 at home.
Mace ball.
Yeah, and that was the kind of thing that we used to have with Wolves, right? We used to beat them away and score loads and concede loads of goals and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that game earlier on this season was such a hard watch, wasn't it?
Yeah. If I remember rightly, that game, obviously, I remember for about an hour, it was a fairly even game. I think they obviously scored from a corner. And then Maddison had a couple of opportunities. He didn't take them.
I think they were the better throughout, to be honest.
And then definitely we made some changes with like 20 minutes to go to really go for it. And it completely backfired. And Bournemouth really kind of took advantage of the chaos, which they like to do. When it turns really transitional, and they were just pummeling us on the counter, and it could have been a lot worse than the 1-0 if it wasn't for some big saves from Forster and things like that. But I remember feeling for a large part it was quite an even game up until the last bit. But Bournemouth did play well throughout. I think we struggled again to create too many serious opportunities. I remember Solanke had a 1-on-1 which he blazed over. Maddison had a chance which he missed as well. And also the corner we conceded was just sloppy, completely through the back post. Hyson with the header. And we got lucky that it was only 1-0 at the end of it. But hopefully it'll be a different game this time.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the stats from that game. And we did play a lot better in the first half than we did into the second half, don't get me wrong. But I'm looking at the big chances they created. They created 2 big chances in the first half to our 0. And in the second half, they created 5 big chances to our 1. So, I mean... they could have won that. I remember like just thinking at the end of that game, we're just lucky to get out here with a 1-0 loss, because it could have been 5 or 6.
Yeah, at the end, for sure, they were creating chance after chance. It was difficult to watch, and how bad we looked. We looked disorganised. We looked like we were just completely all over the shop at the end of that game, and that was really that was a moment for me. I remember in that game, like, okay, this period is going to be a big struggle. I can see that because we were just all over the shop, and obviously we went on to lose a lot of games after that. But Bournemouth are a good team who are. They're going to take the game to us. They're not going to have no fear.
Definitely.
They're going to try and win the game, and rightly so. And it's about how, if they're going to try and take advantage of the chaos they're causing, and we got to show that we can handle it.
The reality is that this game means a lot more for them than it does to us. We've got a European game on Thursday night, which is a lot bigger in terms of the outlook of our season. They're 7th, only 5 points behind Nottingham Forest in 3rd place. So they've got, a realistic chance that if they play their cards right from now to the end of the season, they can end up in the Champions League spaces.
I feel like in these games, though, especially for teams like Bournemouth, that kind of pressure could be a bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it could be, 100%. But I worry about our motivations coming into this game, because I think Ange will probably make a few changes. On the back of the performance that we had on Thursday night, are we going to see a reaction for the team, or are we going to see a team with maybe one eye on that game on Thursday?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think a lot of these players who are coming in could be playing for a place in the team on Thursday. So I'm hoping to see a bit of reaction from the team. I'm hoping to see, obviously after, the apologies and all that kind of stuff, you want to see something back in as well. And I think it's important for this team. If we are going to do anything Europa League, you kind of have to back up in a way in the league to show that you have that bit of consistency to put in good performances. But because I feel like it's very difficult to just turn it on in certain games. You have to be consistent. You have to kind of mold the team in that way. Otherwise,
it's all building blocks.
Yeah, exactly. You have to build towards it. So I think it starts with each game. You just got to make sure the performance level's at a certain point, and then build from there. But I do think there will be changes, whether that leads to us being, disjointed again and stuff like that. And also, it depends on, will there be half an hour on the game on Thursday? I think there's every chance there will be, but you can't use that as an excuse. We have to go there with the right mentality and the right approach, and we've got to just play our football. And if we can do that, we'll have a chance. But even if we're playing at our best, the way Bournemouth have been playing recently, it's still going to be tough to win the game. Yeah,
and in terms of Ange's future, you mentioned in the previous videos that we did, if we lose to RZ, that's probably it for him. You'll be Ange out at that moment in time. But if we do lose to RZ, let's say, but then on top of that, go on a very good run in the Premier League, we go beat Bournemouth, and we consistently win some games from now to the end of the season, does that give him a bit of a chance to stay on here for next season?
Only if he gets European football. Well, maybe not even Conference League. It will probably have to be Europa League via the league. Unless he does that, I just don't even see it being a chance he stays. Unless it's so good, like in the last 5-10 games, we're literally just battering teams aside, and we're looking like we're really being momentum. That's something different. But if we're edging games, and it's if it's games like Man United, where we're winning, but it's not really that convincing.
Yeah.
Then I don't think,
like the wins that we have had pretty much
recently. Yeah. I would say if we're winning games consistently like we were at the beginning of the season, where we're really taking teams to the sword and winning by big margins, and we're doing that on regular occurrences, and we get European football, then maybe we'll have to wait, and maybe he's got a chance to save himself. But if we're not doing that, then I think there's little reason to keep him.
Yeah, we need to figure out in this way somehow to give a bit of threat to the opposition, because last 2 games now, the Man City game and the RZ game, we've pretty much posed no threat whatsoever.
I disagree about the City game, apart from the first half, obviously, but I think the second half we were pummeling them. I thought
we had them penned back, but we didn't create too much.
We created a lot of. I thought we created quite a few opportunities in that second half.
Not really.
We did. Odebear had chances. Who else? Sarr had a couple of chances. Sonny had a chance. We had a few chances.
We created a couple of chances, yeah, don't get me wrong, but from what we know from this Ange team, we usually create a lot more.
I'm just saying I don't think.
All right, let's put it this way then. In 180 minutes of football, we create a chance in 45 minutes out of those 180 minutes of football. Is that better?
Correct. That is better than nothing, yeah.
So we need to figure out ways how to muster up and play consistently and be able to hurt the opposition, which we haven't been able to do it on a regularity.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think there's big problems there. And I think it's also leading to, it's similar to kind of what a few problems we had last season, where at the moment, the lack of kind of quality in the forward line is meaning that the defence is put under more pressure because we keep getting hit very quickly on a transition, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. So I think it's a big problem. Definitely been, as you've seen, apart from the Ipswich game, the amount of goals we've been scoring in recent weeks has not been that much. So we need to find a different kind of approach at the moment. We need to have more strings to our bow, and at the moment we seem too easily nullified.
And how do you see, maybe if Tell does have, a game on the wing, we put him on the wing in this game, like with what we saw of him on the wing of Villa, do you believe that he can have that desired impact?
On the wing?
Yeah.
I do. I think he's a good player. I think it's all about him just getting caught up to speed with how we play, the fitness he needs, and as well caught up to speed with the intensity of the Premier League. Obviously, I know it was Europa League on Thursday. He still struggled there, but I think it just needs a bit more time. I don't know about Sunday specifically, but I think overall, if we keep playing him,
talking about Sunday.
I don't know about Sunday if it's going to have the desired effect, specifically in that game, to be honest. But I think we got to keep trying it. We got to keep persisting with it, because I do think there's a player in there.
After Thursday, I just dread to think what's going to happen in this game. I think it could be a bit of a shocker on Sunday. In my previews in the Predict the Prem, I went for 2-2, but I actually think we're going to lose this game. I think we're going to lose 3-1. I think it could be quite a significant victory for Bournemouth.
I am going to stick with my 2-2 prediction.
2-2.
I'm going to stick with my 2-2 prediction. I think a bit
of
reaction
positive you can get,
and get a draw out of it, and hopefully we play a bit better than we did on Thursday, and hopefully leads to a better performance on the next Thursday.
Yeah. So that is our match preview. That's our score predictions. I want to know your score predictions. Put them in the comments section below. Sim is going to be on the watch along with George, debutant on the watch. Oh no, debutant with Sim on the watch along on Sunday. So he's already done one with Ashmatic, which was it also against Bournemouth?
No,
it wasn't against Bournemouth. Brentford, that was it. It was definitely a B. Yeah. But come and tune in to them on Sunday. I'll be at the game, getting all the.
I thought you were about to say getting hammered.
We will be getting hammered as well. But getting hammered on and off the pitch on Sunday. But no, I'll be getting all the various things from inside the stadium for you guys. I was about to say I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not too much looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing friends and
Sunday you'll be looking forward.
Yeah, of course I will. You should have seen me. You should have seen me Thursday at the start of the watch long. I was buzzing. Absolutely buzzing, only for them to drag me all the way back down. But look, let's hope for a positive performance. Let's hope for 3 points, and we'll see you all on Sunday. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.